with the Indian genre included, it suggested more Asian females tend to enjoy this genre more. However, we have tried to challenge this stereotype with merging of pop music. Our magazine is an all-round multicultural magazine. We try to put positive representation of cultures. This is done by our magazine combination of pop genre and India genre, showing the popularity among our audiences who come from different backgrounds. It also represents how many people don't just like one certain music, but more than one, like pop, rock, or R&B, but can have different mixtures. In our cases, the Indian and the pop music are combined to widen the range. I think one of the key messages that our magazine gives is to young British Asians that although they are British, they are also able to enjoy music from their parent or ancestor roots, which is the Indian music, and they should be proud to be young British Asians. Also, another message I think it shows is that you should always try something new, so the English consumer can buy a magazine and read about the Indian musicians, and the Asian consumer can read about the latest pop musician, which they might have not done if they did not read our magazine. What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why? The institution that would distribute Decibeats would be EMAP Bureau. It reaches over 19 million UK adults across. What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why? The institution that would distribute Decibeats would be EMAP Bureau. It reaches over 19 million UK adults across multimedia channels. It has a unique insight into the audience we'd like to reach due to the vast consumer knowledge, and it would distribute our magazine in mass numbers. It is widely recognized for its music division already, distributing music magazines such as Mojo, Kerrang, and Q Magazine. We feel Decibeats would bode well with EMAP Bureau with their magazine heritage spanning back to the 1953, but never before have they had a magazine like Decibeats. Not only does our magazine provide a combination of pop and Indian music, which is completely different to the music magazines they already publish, but there's never been a magazine like Decibeats before. This brings something brand new to the table. We have therefore targeted a new demographic audience, which is young British Asians, which is a field that has never been explored. EMAP is already a huge media publisher, but with Decibeats as one of its brands, it would only continue to grow as a hugely successful media empire. Our magazine is exciting, unique, and original, and we believe that this type of magazine EMAP would love to publish. Also, EMAP Bureau has a huge special subscription service for their magazines, and our magazine also offers a subscription for a reasonable, affordable price. Also, we can use electronic copies as EMAP use electronic copies on their website. Therefore, this saves publishing money and printing costs.
Question 4. Who would be the audience for your media product?
The audiences that Decibeats would have would be passionate music loving individuals who are devoted about reading about the latest music craze and who are open-minded about listening and trying new things. Our magazine's audience's age range would vary between 16 to 27. We have found this to be because the audience response we have got from Twitter and Facebook, and also participants used in our focus group, were all from this age range. It could be an individual who is unemployed or employed, or who has just left secondary education. Our magazine cost is £2.99. This is what we believe is good value taking into account the amount of pages and what is on offer. Also, income of the family would be reasonably fair, and this class identity of our consumers would be ranging from working class to middle class, and an individual who is well educated and who likes to read considering the amount of formal text. Firdaus, 16, from Leytonstone, said, I like reading magazines on occasions, and I would definitely buy Decibeats. It's different, it's unique. Our audience's musical taste would be pop music and also Indian music. However, from our audience feedback on Facebook, we have found that consumers who are only interested in one genre would still pick up our magazine, as they consider the inclusion of other genre to be an added bonus and good value for money. Abid, 16, from Poplar, London, said, most of my music on my iPod is pop, so I listen to that the most. I rarely, if not ever, listen to Indian music. However, I think it is good value that it's a two-genre magazine. It gives you more for your money. Also, audiences were willing to learn more about Indian music, which is not at the same heights as pop music. Imran, 17, from Stepney, London, said, "The only Asian musicians I know of is Imran Khan and Jay Sean, but I would like to learn and read more about Indian music genre." Location-wise, our demographic consumers would come from London, Birmingham and Manchester, cities where a large amount of young British Asians are based.
How did you attract or address your audience? Question 5.
To attract our audience, we used various codes and conventions. One of them was to have a big, bold, colourful masthead, which at first instance is what captures the audience attention. When asking the focus group what they have thought of the masthead, Murad, 16, from Ilford, Essex, replied, "It's clear-cut and very creative. I like what you've done with the font, with the 2 words, so you can see that this magazine is going to have something different and edgy." Another way to get the reader's eye was to have a free colour scheme, and this again proved to be a hit with the focus group. Sam, 17, from Stratford, London, said, "The colour scheme is really good because you've kept 2 colours the same throughout the issues and changed one so you can tell that it's a different issue." When asking the focus group of what they thought about the magazine, what they thought the magazine represents, Kira, 16, from Walthamstow, London, said, "I like the theme of it being both pop and Indian music. I'm mixed race, so it appeals to me. I would buy the magazine because it has something different to all the other music magazines out there." Molly, 16, from Itchwick, Suffolk, who followed the Wix link from my Facebook profile, commented on how she liked the images used in the 3 front covers. "Great photography, looks professional, and the fact that you use one English model and a male and female Indian model sticks with the theme of the music magazine well. All the text used in our magazine is in formal standard English, and this is done to target the audience we want for our music magazine."
Question 6. What have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing this product? At the start of the process making our music magazine, we first had a Photoshop induction to know the basic tools of Photoshop. We had never used Photoshop before, so it was new to us, but it was also interesting to learn and use the tools of Photoshop. We got to know how to implement margins and how to import an image onto Photoshop. We also had an InDesign induction, as we needed this to do our contents page and double page spread. With InDesign, we learned how to make columns and how to add text and captions. We did task on InDesign to make an article about file sharing. Whilst doing this, it improved our knowledge on InDesign, and for the next time we used InDesign, we had a better understanding of it. We did a preliminary task to do a college magazine, front cover and contents page on it. We used both Photoshop and InDesign, and where we made errors, we had our classmates to help us out. After the induction and preliminary task, we used Photoshop and InDesign for our music magazine. We needed images, so we went to the photo studio in college, where we had clothes, so that different type of clothes so that our models could wear them, and we had different backgrounds colors so that we could work with them. We used a Nixon SLR camera, which we had never used before, and it was fun taking photos of it. With the SLR camera, we learned how to use and change the exposure, focus and white balance to get the certain shots. We had to know which way the flashlights should face it if we wanted to take certain angle shots. We also had knowledge of close-up shot and medium shot, and we put this into action when doing our photo shoot. After we had the images, we started our music magazine. We also made a Wix profile website and a web design where a music magazine could go up and be available to see. We had to make different pages and produce a creative, colourful design. Question 7. Suhaila, looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learned in the progression from it to your full product? Looking back at the preliminary task and looking at my full product now, I can see I have developed many skills and gained some knowledge on the way in both Photoshop and InDesign, and also developing media products. In the preliminary task, I used the basic Photoshop skills I picked up in the introductory task. Looking at then the college magazine, I believed it was suitable for someone who has never used Photoshop. However, when I look back at it now, I know I could have done much better, and there were many areas of improvement. In the preliminary task, I used all the best possible knowledge of both Photoshop and InDesign to make the best college magazine I could. Then I didn't know how Then I didn't know much, but once starting the main task of the music magazine, I played around with Photoshop and InDesign to further my knowledge in the software, and now I've picked up skills that I didn't know before, like changing the lighting of images and cropping certain areas of an image. Even with the InDesign, I couldn't fit images into the columns properly, but I picked up and learned all these skills when producing my music magazine. With the preliminary task, I didn't do much research on magazines to see how all the media conventions worked. I just worked with my basic knowledge. However, I done in-depth research in different music magazines to see how they worked for my music magazine. This helped, as looking at my case studies, it gave me ideas of what I could do and put in my front cover, contents page and double page spread. Furthermore, in the preliminary task, I used a normal digital camera to take my pictures. However, in my main task, I used a professional camera and I did a proper photo shoot. This helped me gain knowledge in how to use professional camera and how to work with the lighting and the setting. Overall, I learned and picked up key skills that will help me in the future if I am to use any of these softwares again. Also, I learned that I learned that trial and improvement is a good method to take on. As in my magazine, I tried various colors and images, but I didn't use all of them. I used the most suitable ones, but trying different ones was the only way to get to my final and finishing product.
Syed, question 7. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learned in the progression from it to the full product? The preliminary task was the first chance of us to have a go at making a magazine, and we knew that the basic tools of both Photoshop and InDesign, and we had to create a college magazine and put all the knowledge of the software together to create the best possible music magazine we could. After this, we started making our music magazine, and we had something to look at and improve from. I thought to myself, how could I improve my masthead? It needed to be more creative if it was going to be a mainstream masthead. It needed to be iconic. Our group did research and saw that what other music magazines used in the front cover, contents page and double page spread, and we used this to make our magazines look even better, such as including a subscription service and a reviews column. We continuously changed our colour scheme until we felt to ourselves we had the right combination. We also tried and tested new ideas and a sort of trial and error method to make sure our music magazine could have everything it would need to look like a professional music magazine. We always thought to ourselves, would this be something our audience would be interested in? We implemented new cover lines and writing our Q&A and double page spread. And after all the progression from the preliminary task to the final product, I think the main thing I learned and took away from it was there's always room for improvement. The little details are as important as the big ones, and that you should always look at the bigger picture. Throughout the process, I improved my knowledge of InDesign. I also learned how to manipulate images on Photoshop, and I made sure from the preliminary task that the background of the front cover is relevant to the text.
Hannah. The primary task which I had to produce a college magazine taught me a lot of new things when producing a media product. For example, by carrying out this task, I was able to learn how to use softwares like Photoshop and InDesign. That helped me manipulate and edit my text and images. However, when analysing my college magazine, I found that there was a few things that I could have done to make my product more efficient. Firstly, one of the main things that I used to improve on was that pictures were not of a good quality. Therefore, before producing my magazine, I organised a professional photo shoot with my model, where I was able to take a variety of shots and use different backdrops to find the best images possible. This did not only improve the quality of the image, but also allowed me to use the mise en scene to interpret my genre further to my audience. When analysing my front cover, I was given feedback from many different people, both negative and positive, and I use this as constructive criticism. For example, overall, people like the 3-colour screen and masthead that I used, as they thought that this made the magazine stand out. Therefore, when creating my music magazine, I ensured that I implemented this again. Negative feedback that I received was about my contents page, as someone said that there was limited text, therefore making it seem like there was not a lot to in my magazine. Therefore, when creating my music magazine contents page, I ensured that I used a variety of text and included more images in the features and regulars section.